Let me take you back to a time when my two biggest talents were avoiding responsibilities and collecting hangovers like Pokemon cards. Back then, my life's motto was, why deal with emotions when you can just drown them in tequila? Beer. Every morning was a mystery. How did I get here? Why is there a slice of pizza in my shoe? And more importantly, how did my life become a continuous loop of bad decisions and late night kebabs? Then I discovered Jiu Jitsu. At first I thought perfect, a way to burn off all the booze and pizza. But let me tell you, Jiu Jitsu doesn't care how many UFC fights you've watched, because watching Conor McGregor fight does not make you Conor McGregor. Not that he's the best for Jiu Jitsu. Turns out those people on TV make it look way easier than it actually is. Jiu Jitsu is a humbling experience. Let's be real. My first few years of Jiu Jitsu were a dumpster fire. If there's a hierarchy in class, I wasn't even the nail. I was more like the wood the nail gets hammered into. For the first few years, I was the person you partnered up with when you wanted an easy win. Getting tapped out felt like my special talent, which is great if you're trying to win some weird participation trophy, but not so great if you're trying to survive a class. I was the guy who'd show up, get smashed, and then immediately wonder, how do people actually enjoy this? I'd see people leaving class with this zen-like calm while I left looking like I had just wrestled with the concept of my own mortality and lost. Back then, I wasn't committed to getting better at jiu-jitsu. I was still committed to tequila and beer. I spent more time in bars than on the mats, in my basement drinking, which is funny because in both places I'd end up horizontal and confused. Except one involved me paying a lot more for regret the next morning. But in all seriousness, if they gave out belts for drinking, I'd be a black belt with stripes in jiu-jitsu. I was still trying to figure out how to tie the damn belt. And it wasn't until I got sober that things changed. The moment I put down the bottle, it was like I had finally cleared the cobwebs from my brain, and boy were there a lot of cobwebs. Turns out, when you're not hungover all the time, you can actually start improving at stuff. Crazy, right? I started showing up to jiu-jitsu consistently, and for the first time, I was actually present, physically and mentally. No more zoning out, thinking about when my next drink would be or why the room was spinning. In the last 2 years since I've been sober, my progress in jiu-jitsu skyrocketed. I started to understand technique, timing, strategy. Suddenly, I wasn't just the guy getting demolished every class. I was occasionally demolishing others. Don't get me wrong, I still get smashed, but at least now it's not every round. Small victories, right? Here's the thing. Jiu-jitsu is a lot like sobriety. It sucks at first. You're constantly uncomfortable. You're getting dominated by people half your size, and you're questioning your life choices every step of the way. But as time goes on, something clicks. It's kind of like getting sober. At first, you miss the chaos. Then you realize, wait, my life is better without waking up in strange places with half a burrito in my pocket. Like the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. That's a fancy way of saying, hey, when life body slams you, maybe that's the lesson you need. Jiu-jitsu taught me that failure isn't the enemy, it's the path to growth. Much like sobriety, where every day you don't drink is a tiny victory, in jiu-jitsu, every time you get smashed and don't quit, you're getting better. And believe me, I got smashed a lot. I spent so much time being terrible at jiu-jitsu that when I actually started to improve, I thought, is that what success feels like? Going from a human punching bag to someone who could actually execute a technique, that felt like winning the lottery, except instead of cash, I won a slightly better ability to not get strangled by a 130-pound guy named Kyle. Here's the truth. Getting sober didn't make me instantly great at jiu-jitsu, but it made me capable of getting better. It allowed me to focus, to stay consistent, and to keep pushing through those moments. Sobriety gave me clarity, and jiu-jitsu gave me resilience. Together, they turned my life around. I used to look at life like a hangover. You just have to suffer through it and wait for it to pass. But now I realize it's more like jiu-jitsu. Sometimes you're going to get put in bad positions. But if you stay calm, breathe, and keep working, you'll find a way out. And hey, if you're struggling with sobriety or feel like life is constantly putting you in rear naked chokes, just remember there's hope. If I can go from drunken disaster to someone who occasionally doesn't get choked out, then you've definitely got a shot at turning things around. If you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button unless you're still hungover, in which case maybe have some water first and then subscribe. Let's keep rolling, both in life and on the mats. And remember, the only thing better than winning is surviving. Here's to surviving. And maybe winning occasionally too. Thanks for watching.